Hey Sulu friends, we are finally starting to get some sun where I live and days are getting warmer. Not sure about the UK though. Similar to many other people in the hobby, I do not find the obviously fresh citrus fragrances as exciting as rich resinous ones, which form the majority of my collection. So I think I'll make a list of unconventional summer fragrances at some point. But anyway, there are still good fresh ones. I thought this would be a good time to share some fragrances that I'm looking forward to wearing during this summer. First up is my staple summer fragrance for the last 3 years. This is Chanel Eau de Cologne by Jacques Polge, which I have a big bottle of 980 ml. This is an obvious yet beautiful Eau de Cologne. Lots of citruses, lemon, orange, bergamot, along with orange blossom, petit grain with a musky, slightly sweet dry down. It is bright, fresh, and just fantastic in the heat. This is as good as an eau de cologne can get. I could easily go through some 20 ml of this stuff in a day during summer. I like to keep it by the table where I'm working and just refresh every hour or so. Obviously not going to be one that has tenacity. Besides, I do not think it is worth the Chanel exclusive prices. I think it should have been a standalone fragrance for less. I guess they have just added it as an exclusive because of historical reasons, like it being based on a formula from the 20s and such. But if you can get it for less or a lot of it, then you're pretty much set for the summer. Let's do another Chanel, this time from the Les Eaux collection. This is Paris Edinburgh, this time by Olivier Polge. This is an ode to the time Chanel had a love affair with the Duke of Westminster, of course, and the time she spent by the Edinburgh countryside. So takes elements of a classic men's cologne like lavender and citruses and juxtaposes them onto this peaty, woody forest side with notes like juniper, cypress and cedar, done with a lighter touch in the classy Chanel style. Some vanilla musks contrasting with warmth, and the overarching mentholated cool facets makes for a superb wearing in the heat. Overall, a solid collection. I hope to add Biarritz, Deauville or Venice in the rotation in the coming years. Now let's do an underrated one from Comme des Garçons. This is from their series for cologne called Vetiver. This is how it is pronounced in its language of origin, by the way, with an U instead of just vetiver. This is obviously a vetiver scent imposed on a cologne profile. It is fresh, aromatic and woody without going smoky or swampy. You have the bergamot, some pepper to give it that lift, orange blossom bringing in the clean, soapy cologne facets, and some cedar adding to the vetiver, which gives it that crisp woodiness, lightly earthy and spicy too, which keeps it from becoming boring. It is very well made, classy, clean, nothing strange as with other Comme des Garçons releases. Reminds me of Vetiver Extraordinaire to some extent. Could be an alternative if you don't want to spend niche money. There are two more in this line called Unbar and Citrico, also very nice. This behaves like an eau de toilette, lasts a decent 6 hours and also costs 50-60 euros for 125 ml at retail. I'd say considering the perfume prices at the minute, this is a very good deal for a very good fragrance. Speaking of colognes, let's do another one from Givenchy. This is Gentleman Cologne from the said line. This is also a straightforward cologne with some tweaks in the form of powdery designer iris in it. I like the initial releases in this line, the original Eau de Parfum being my favorite, but I've always turned to the Dior line whenever I needed that kind of a fragrance. This stood out to me in the way that it works the citrusy, lemon, bergamot, petit grain, cologne florals with the iris, rosemary with some woodiness from the vetiver in the base, making for a rather functional, clean, musky designer fragrance. Of course, it had to be discontinued. I think the licensing has since changed and they are doing the Society Flanker branch within the Gentleman line, which I think is notably inferior compared to what Olivier Cresp and Nathalie Lawson did with the earlier releases. So still worth checking out this cologne flanker. Let's take a look at one that has similarities to Gentleman Cologne. This is Lalique White. This has over the years become my go-to inexpensive fragrance. This is my third bottle in fact. I even have one at my office. It is a citrus aromatic scent but quite unique. You have the bergamot, pepper and cedar, which are obvious choices for a fresh musky scent. But there are other notes which give it a twist, like tamarind, elemi, violet and even some spices like cardamom and nutmeg. Besides, the X factor of the scent is all these notes are not obvious. They come together to form a singular smell. I even get some aldehydic undertones complementing that fizzy, clean, musky smell. Made by Christine Nagel, who is of course now the in-house perfumer at Hermès. This to me smells better quality than many mid-level designer brands today like Azzaro, Jean Paul Gaultier, Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, Valentino and even the current Yves Saint Laurent, to be frank. You can still get this for 25 euros for a 125 ml bottle. Many consider this as a budget version of Guerlain from Parfums and Heeley, though this came first. A fantastic, versatile, simple fragrance. I think I'll do a dedicated review on this soon. At number 6, speaking of Hermès and Christine Nagel, let's take a look at a flanker she made for Terre d'Hermès. This is Eau Givrée, which essentially replaced Eau Très Fraîche by Jean-Claude Helena, as it had to be discontinued because of the Lilial ban, I think. This is rather different from the rest of the line. This has an uncompromising citron note. It has the freshness, the lemony, braising facets, but also rindy and bitter. With the juniper berries complementing it, can also be green, pungent and piney. Then there is the Timoth pepper, which helps to prolong the sharp, effervescent, vibrant, fresh, spicy scent. This is also an eau de parfum, so has more body to it than eau très fraîche. As with the name Givrée, meaning frozen, there is a cooling effect created by the integration of some aroma chemicals without going in the aquatic or blue fragrance direction. Then in the dry down has this slightly ashy mineralic base that Nagel seems to be using in many of her Hermès creations like the H24 line to give it that modern outlook. Overall, as with Hermès, a nice, classy, warm weather fragrance. At 7, let's do another Hermès, this time from the Hermès collection. This is Santal Masoya by Jean-Claude Helena. I have always associated sandalwood with a rich, warm, creamy, woody smell and initially dismissed this one. But with time, I started appreciating the soft facets of sandalwood that this highlights. There is the Masoya note, which brings this soft, milky, creamy facet. There are nuances of fig, bready accord, some floral touches and even some coconut oil like smell in there. The style of sandalwood stands out here because this is not rich, dense or overbearing. It is soft, gentle and musky in a way that it blends with the skin and almost becomes a natural smell, and I think that is the beauty of it. At number 8, let's do one from the house of Heeley. This is Sel Marin. This is probably the only straight up marine fragrance I own. I don't mean aquatics or blue fragrances. There are overlaps for sure, but I think these are fragrances that are particularly going in the marine direction, like this one, Oud Mineral, Copal Azure and so forth. This opens with some sharp citruses like lemon and bergamot, which quickly reveals the marine accord that Heeley has repeated in his other fragrances like Note de Yuzu, to a lesser extent in Cologne Officinal and Coco Bello. You get the salt, the vegetal seaweed, the mossy, lightly sulfuric facets, the dense beach air-like sensation as well. I reckon there has to be some aldehydes in here. Dries down to starchy musks. It does justice by getting close to a salty marine scent, but at the same time not fishy or animalic or repulsive. Still comes across like a wearable fragrance. The quality is good, notably for a fragrance that is probably built around a lot of synthetics. Does not smell cheap or crass like some designer aquatics do. This is what put Heeley on the map and surely deserves recognition. At number 9, let's do an affordable niche scent. This is Orange X Santal from Essentiel Parfum by Nathalie Lorson. Surprise! This is a straightforward orange fragrance with a hint of sandalwood in the base. There are some herbal nuances from the basil and cypress, little hints of spiciness too. The sandalwood is more so to give that creamy, smooth roundness to the orange rather than being a woody note by itself. Some references from Bigarade Concentré are obvious. It is simple, clean, modern and classy to wear. Some fragrances from this house have really become workhorses for me during the hot days. This and Mon Vetiver I just spray when I walk out of the door. Bois Imperial when it is a bit cold. Minimalistic yet not boring. Works well for me at the office and other formal occasions. Besides, the quality for the price is really good. It is about 70-80 euros at retail and smells better than most mid-level designer fragrances, all of which have blown past the 100-120 mark by now. Speaking of simple and straightforward, let's do Eau de Monsieur from Goutal, created by Annick Goutal. This is a straightforward, well-made citrus aromatic, and that's it. You have the bergamot, lemon, orange, providing the zesty goodness, some mint also with them, geranium giving that cooling, lightly spicy, soapy, clean facets, dries down to a thin layer of sandalwood, patchouli and moss. This to me forms the framework around which the other fresh scents of Goutal are built upon. This itself gets compared to Dior Eau Sauvage, one of the underrated ones from this house. Let's do another underrated one, this time from Guerlain. This is Herbe Troublante from their L'Art à la Matière collection. This is pretty much a re-release of Un Dimanche à la Campagne by Thierry Vasser. This is a green, herbal, floral musk fragrance. Takes from the older Guerlain colognes, so that classical style is evident. Lots of bergamot, some mint, basil and thyme. Orange blossom brings in the clean cologne soapiness. Dries down to fluffy, heliotrope kind of musks. It is a good herbal, fresh scent, but absolutely not worth the exclusive prices. Even this metal plate has come off. Seriously, no logic in putting this in the already overpriced Guerlain range. I myself got this as a partial for 50 euros. At that price, it serves well. Hope to finish it off this summer. Let's finish off with the Frederic Malle. Of course, I'm going to be wearing Geranium pour Monsieur, Bigarade Concentré and the other well-known ones. What I would like to highlight here and wear more of is Eau de Magnolia by Carlos Binaim. This is not a soliflor. Those for the most part I find boring unless it's constructed from different accords coming together. This one is a lemony scent, so there is some uplifting freshness, but it is not zesty, juicy or cologne-like. Just that tang which smoothly transitions to magnolia in the heart, which is also lemony, slightly sweet, floral and woody. Some vetiver and cedar with added earthiness and musks. It is a calming, smooth fragrance. Very intricate the way the lemony facets, the floral facets, woodiness, earthiness and muskiness all are balanced to form a conceptual scent. So there you have it, some of my selections for summer 2024. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care and ciao.